thankfully for Paulson, hockey players, they're built pretty tough, and he's still competing here to close out the final day.
Well, that was a hard event for sure, with so much pulling, all the snatches that they did with bar muscle-ups and chest bar pull-ups. The grip was at complete its limit, and you could see Paulson just fell off the bar.
Less than 10 seconds separate your top three. It continues to be Con Porter, but Frederick Agidius with the quicker transition will take a slight lead, and his sled will come across that line or reach that line just ahead of Porter. So it's Agidius 1, Porter 2. Elliott Simmons continues to close the gap as he sits in the third position. Two rounds remain. We're still 10 minutes shy of the 18-minute time cap as they work through this triplet of a 300-meter run, 20 calories on the assault bike, and a 44-foot sled pull, with that sled weighing 183 pounds.
And we talked about it backstage, Brandon, that the sled pull, 183 pounds, it's not really heavy. It's not, especially given what they did not even 12 hours ago, where they were doing bar muscle-ups and snatching and chest bar pull-ups. Their grip is completely fried. This was not meant to be and designed to be a grip or pulling event. This was really meant to test the lungs and your cardiorespiratory system.
Halfway to the time cap, that should not be an issue for much of the field, especially the leaders, as it continues to be Agidius and Porter leading the way, much like they have really since the opening round.
I think this event is a great test of horsepower, Brandon. It's one of the 10 elements of fitness as defined by Coach Glassman is cardiorespiratory endurance, and that's your body's ability to gather, process, and deliver oxygen, and that's exactly what this event is testing.
Now that could be a big moment. It's a small mistake, but it could cost Con Porter as he went to the wrong bike. And that'll be a couple of seconds there, and Frederick Agidius, who has been given it on the assault bike early on, might be taking advantage of that slight mistake. Still one more round remains after this one.
Freddie's doing a great job right there, using that upper body to push-pull, try to take some of the pressure off the legs. He's got his chest upright, the best you can do on the assault bike. He's trying to get as much air as he can in and out of those lungs.
Judge's hand up, indicating the final 5 calories on this assault bike in the 4th round. And Agidius will make his way off the bike. And he's going to open up a pretty solid lead over Con Porter. But Elliott Simmons has moved into the 2nd position. As Agidius onto the sled for the 4th time. That sled, again, 183 pounds for our international viewers, about 83 kilos. And this has just been consistency for Agidius, making that sled pull just very, very smooth. So Agidius leading the way. Behind him, fellow European Elliott Simmons, the rookie, competing out of the UAE, sitting 28th in the point standings. He's only a couple of seconds behind Agidius. Simmons, a individual games rookie, has been here before on a team. In fact, stood on the podium in 2016 with CrossFit Yaz out of Abu Dhabi. Took 3rd place that year in the Affiliate Cup competition. And he tries to chase down Frederick Agidius. You see the interval, maybe about 25 yards, the distance between Agidius and Simmons. Porter and Paulson not far behind, as Con Porter out of the Pacific Regional trying to give chase, but he's lost a little bit of ground.
He's lost a little ground, and if I'm watching Freddie way up front, to me, Brandon, he's actually opening up his stride. It seems like he's got the end of the event in sight, and he's trying to push the throttle. That's exactly what we talked about in our keys.
Frederick Agidius making his way back into the stadium. And amazingly enough, as he makes his way into the stadium for the final time, most of the athletes here had 2 months to train for the games after regionals. Frederick Agidius had about 2 weeks. He was an alternate after a disqualification ahead of him out of his region, put him into the games at the last moment. Well, a little bit of training, no problem thus far for Frederick Agidius, and he is going. It is full send on the assault bike for Agidius.
And that's exactly what you want to see here. Just hammer the bike. You got to get off the bike, get into that sled pull, because the sled pull, you're done in 10-15 seconds.
This has been the strategy in all 5 rounds for Agidius. Simmons has just been quick and getting faster every single round. Behind them, Con Porter. You see him picking up the pace a little bit from where he's been, but I don't know if that pace is going to be good enough to catch Agidius. Judge's hand already up for Frederick Agidius. But Tim Paulson just crushed the bike off camera. He's actually making his way down the field. And I know a lot of times we'll say the bit of a cliche, where did he come from? But Tim Paulson has come all the way from 4th to 1st since coming into the stadium.
And that's exactly what we were talking about, Brandon. Who is going to take that and just sprint right at the very end?
It was a hard landing one night ago for Paulson, but it's a great finish to start day number 4. He'll take the heat. Frederick Agidius' time, he accidentally clipped the timing chip, so that time not official. He'll come across at 14:15. It's Tim Paulson at 14:01.64, setting the time to beat. Con Porter will be the 4th finisher. Ethan Helbig in 5th. As Agidius, we're having some scoring issues there. We'll have to wait for the official results. It's Mitchell Stevenson across the line at 14:34. Royce Dunn, the CrossFit total winner, will be our 7th finisher. Next finisher should be John Colte. And the rookie out of CrossFit, Laminin, out of Alabama. Come across the line just behind Brandon Luckett. Craig Kenny closing in on the finish. Saxon Panchik, his sled about to reach the blue in the end zone. Giving chase behind him is Nicholas Urenkar, but it's going to be Panchik that'll take the position. And again, apologies, the finish line is not far behind that blue end zone, so we're getting some of the athletes' chip timers accidentally crossing the line before they're completely finished. Jared Enderton, clearly that is the sign of being finished in this event. There's no accidental timing error there. Good race between Zeke Grove and Alex Smith. Give the position to Smith over Grove. Josh Bridges making his way with the sled into the end zone. And we saw the struggle that he had with what appears to be a lower body injury of some type. But he's still able to beat the time cap at 16 minutes and 8 seconds. And we've got the full field in. And they will be led by Tim Paulson, who this time we can say it with good certainty, really came out of nowhere on this one. There's no cliche on that. 4th to 1st after they got into the stadium for the final 2 legs of this triplet. He takes it at 14:01.
Brandon, it was an even race. One of the things that we talked about earlier was that these guys would come out a little bit slower and potentially use round 1 as a warm-up, and Freddie did a good job of keeping it in pace. Con Porter was close for the first several runs. Freddie tended to pick up his pace on the bike, and the sled was smooth for all athletes across the board. Con Porter there finishing up one of his pulls. but the pole wasn't really where this event was won or lost. You could see Con Porter there making a mistake on the bike. Freddie hops on and capitalizes on that mistake. Ripped through that round of his bike, finishes up that sled pull. He hopped on the bike, and this is in his last round here. You'll see him pick up his tempo and just put the pedals down, trying to get this heat win. But as we look across the field, top center screen, Tim Paulson hammered the bike on that last round. He comes out of nowhere, fourth to first, and ends up taking the heat win with a time of 14:01.
And he is potentially in line for his second career top 5 finish, what might be his 5th top 10, depending on how it plays out in heat number 2. He leads the way provisionally after our opening heat at 14 minutes, 1.64 seconds. Elliott Simmons and Con Porter round out the top 3. That's heat 1 for the men. But coming up next, we'll have women's heat number 1 and the 2-stroke pull, event number 12, coming up next. Welcome back to Madison, Wisconsin, as we're ready for women's heat number 1 in event number 12, the 2-stroke pole. Brandon Domain, Rob Orlando, Mike Arsenault with you at the North Park Field as we are ready to kick off the final day of competition with a high-intensity test.
Well, Brandon, individual event number 12 is called 2-stroke pole because it is a gassy affair. We've got 5 rounds of a 300-meter run, 15-calorie assault bike for our lady with a 44-foot sled pull. And that sled is going to weigh 153 pounds. We've got an 18-minute cap.
And we'll have the bottom half of the point standings here in heat number 1, but some names that could factor into the points race is there's some athletes that are saying, hey, we need some help from everybody. You might want somebody that actually enjoys the assault bike. That would be Meredith Root in lane number 5. She said it's one of her